You are listening to Veterans Action Report on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. I'm your host, Nick, coming to you live from St. Paul, Minnesota.
And I'm Andrew Canales, coming to you live from Evergreen, Colorado.
Every day, veterans are struggling with many issues spanning from homelessness to mental health crisis, often leading to 22 veterans a day taking their own lives. There are veterans all around the U.S. leading the fight to help guide our brothers and sisters to a better life. We will bring you stories from all around the country telling tales of veteran struggles and triumph. Every episode benefits veteran-run nonprofits Warriors Next Adventure, helping veterans fight PTSD through recreational therapy and new adventures. And Houses for Warriors, helping solve the homeless crisis, leading veterans to a better lifestyle. What is going on, everybody? I hope this mic is working because my other stand just broke literally during the preview, like the intro. So, what's up, Dave Barr? Thanks for commenting. Hey guys, thanks again for listening to Veterans Action Report. This is episode 30. We had a couple weeks where we didn't do episodes, but the fact that we've been around for a little bit more than 34 weeks, I believe, it's pretty sweet. I appreciate all you guys who listen and continue to post and everything like that. And I love doing the show. It's a lot of fun. I get to speak to some amazing people. Many of you know I have my other podcast, Warriors Next Adventure. That's more of like a personal one-on-one conversation. I usually do in-house here, and that's more of a rated R podcast. We sit and talk about just about anything, but we have veterans on and we talk about amazing things. This program, however, thanks again to KGRA for having us on. KGRA Digital Broadcasting gives us this slot as a public service, which is amazing. They don't charge us anything. And you guys can listen on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. Obviously, you know it if you're listening to it. But if you go to KGRA Digital Broadcasting and you can make an account, everything like that, you don't have to pay to watch our show. And then like iDetective, and then there's another one afterwards. Chanel, help me out. There's another program for law enforcement before and after Veterans Action Report, which is pretty sweet. So this organization's been wonderful to us. Bill has been amazing. Chanel is one of the other producers. She's been awesome. Bill's usually off on Wednesdays, so Chanel's been my homie. She's been helping me out. All these guys have Search Warrant is before mine, and then iDetective is right after. But it's nice having like a production team and everything, and it helps out. It makes my life a lot easier, especially when my microphones aren't great. They tell me in the comments here and I can fix it and adjust as we go. So it's really cool. So anyway, a little bit about Warriors Next Adventure, which is the show that this show benefits, as well as Houses for Warriors. So Warriors Next Adventure is a nonprofit I started in 2019. We help vets with PTSD and suicide prevention. I run a 24/7 suicide hotline, and we've had a little over, I think, 109 calls on the suicide hotline, and they're all still alive. So we're doing something right, which is awesome. We have all kinds of amazing programs. This week, if you're anywhere near Omaha, Nebraska, please come out to the Papio Pub. We have a huge fundraiser at the Papio Pub that Kimberly, Cheryl, and Tommy put together. Tommy's my Omaha ambassador, and Kimberly and Cheryl are the owners of the Papio Pub. One's a manager. And they've just been awesome. We have all kinds of amazing we have some awesome raffles coming up. There's talks about a Harley Davidson. I guess I'll announce that for sure once we get there. What's up, Jim? How are you? So we got some really cool prizes coming up there. And then July 15th, we'll be at Cedar Inn in Minneapolis. Cedar Inn in Minneapolis has, they say they got the best wings in Minneapolis. So I had to go try them out. Dude, they're amazing. I like Parmesan garlic. So like I tried those, of course. And dude, they're massive. Like it's 6 wings, but you're full by the time you're done. So it's good stuff. Go check them out. Come on down January 15th at 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Cedar Inn. We'll have raffles. We'll have, they have, they're giving us 2 kegs. So we'll have a bunch of beer for donation, which is great. You're still going to have to pay for your beer cups, but it'll go straight to us, which is awesome. And then July 16th, we have another race. We should have the street stock, the super stock, possibly the other street stock, and the Hornet all racing on the same day. So if you want to come check it out, feel free to come out and take a look. And you guys can come into the pits if you want to. We only pay for like 5 veterans to go into the pits because we're going to go broke if we keep paying for everybody. So if you guys want to join us, anytime you guys see that we're going to be at Gundick Law or Ogilvy Speedway or Ogilvy Raceway or Princeton Speedway, feel free to come into the pits and you guys can come hang out with us. I don't care if you're a veteran or not. It doesn't matter. If you guys want to come hang out with us, feel free to come check it out. let you guys sit in the cars. You bring your kids around, they can sit in the cars, put helmets on and stuff. So it's good times. Houses for Warriors is an organization that is also benefits from this from this radio show run by Andrew Canellis, and Andrew does fantastic work out in the Denver, Colorado area. He helps veterans with suicide. That's my organization. He helps veterans with homelessness, which is amazing. They have a house called the Warrior House, and veterans who are in transition can go stay there for free. Unless they're on disability, then a small portion of it goes towards the bills and everything like that. HUD-VASH actually denied them assistance, which is crazy to me because they have house rules, because they're not allowed to drink, which I think that's the way it should be. And they have to stay sober, and they have a couple basic house rules, and HUD-VASH didn't allow that. So Andrew went and raised the money himself. I think in one night he raised $60,000 through conversion seminars and paid for the whole house for a whole year, which is absolutely fantastic. Go check out housesforwarriors.org. It's amazing. warriorsnextadventure.com. Today I have on Carl Whalen. I'm going to let him come on and give a description of everything he does. He's another veteran, and he's another veteran that does amazing things, and I'm so excited to have him on to talk about everything. We just got introduced the other day by Amy from WTF Radio, which I should be having some guys on from there here soon. So I'm going to let him come on and tell everybody what he does. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Good. Isn't that BS about HUD-VASH?
Dude, I actually am a graduate from VA HUD-VASH. I grew up in Section 8 housing my whole life as a kid. And when I got out of the service, I was in between places. I was staying with my mother, and I had my then 4-year-old son, who's now 15. But we struggled keeping a roof over our head because at that very time I was struggling to find work. And when I got a job, I would lose it because I would have bad episodes of PTSD and stupid, crazy crap. So,
what year was
HUD-VASH. Oh, God. I got out in 2011. I went into HUD-VASH in 2012, and I graduated in 2017 and bought my first home with my VA home loan in 2018.
Nice.
And I'm first-gen homeowner in my family, so
that's amazing.
Proud of that. Yeah.
Congratulations, man. You're proud of that.
But the VA HUD-VASH usually works, and so I heard somebody got denied. I'm like, they shouldn't deny anybody.
Well, really dude, so the way it worked is, Andrew's he comes on as a co-host every once in a while, and he runs House for Warriors. He got this home, and they're renting out the home, right? So it's not their house; they're renting it. Right. But there's they can house up to 9 veterans, which is insane. That's amazing, And HUD-VASH denied them because they had house rules. How bullshit is that? You're not allowed to drink. You have, a certain amount of regulations during your first month or so, because a lot of homeless veterans take advantage of stuff like that. And then, they end up going and doing drugs. Let's face it. It happens, right? I'm not saying all homeless vets are druggies, but it happens, right? And so unfortunately, when you have people like that, surrounded by a bunch of veterans who are actually trying to heal, it's toxic and it's not good for them, right?
Makes sense there.
Yeah. But it's hard. How do you kick somebody out who really needs help? That's where I struggle. Mm-hmm. Is who do you choose to essentially give up on because you're wasting resources?
Right.
That's my biggest struggle with Warriors Next Adventure, man. Me having to say no to somebody. Recently we had a Stolen Valor issue, and I had to ban somebody from the nonprofit. I felt so bad. Dude. I still feel bad, man. But it's don't lie to get ahead. Don't do drugs when you're getting a fucking free ride. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. Don't. Dude, it's so hard on this show. I try not to swear. But if you're getting a free ride, abide by the rules. The rules aren't going to change for you. And so I tell everybody that no matter what in life, you can't expect everything to change for you. Especially if you're getting a handout, you should conform, But the good thing is he's got a really cool program, and he gets them into their own apartments, and he's an awesome dude, man. Check out House for Warriors, man. They're doing great stuff. Anyway, the reason why I had you on, I want you to tell us about what you do and what's going on. And me and you just kind of confirmed. I can't guarantee 100%, but we're at a 99%. I'll be there August 6th. So why don't you tell everybody what you do?
So I'm the executive director and co-founder for Back the Heroes Rumble. My wife and I co-founded this nonprofit. Again, titled Back the Heroes Rumble, 2019. And
it was initially Back the Blue, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It was originally Back the Blue Rumble when we started, and I'll explain the meaning behind the name. So the year after I bought this house, we were laid up in the middle of the night. We heard a lot of lights and sirens going by our house, and we didn't know what the heck was going on. So we get on Facebook because, people talk. And sure shooting, we see on West Claremont Parents page that there's some kind of law enforcement involved shooting going on. And long story short, we actually found out that it was a fallen officer that was shot and killed. And we wanted to do something to help his family, as everybody else did around here, because everybody's pretty close. And we came up with the idea. My wife and I did. We were talking about it. We found out that Braxton, the officer's kid, loved cars, and the officer had a Mustang. And so we're like, why don't we do a car show? Now, I had never been to a car show. I had never organized a fundraiser, never done anything in my life like that.
Dude, it's not easy.
No. Well, we came together with 9 other people. So we had 11 people on this board, and we put on this car show, put it together in 32 days.
Wow.
And we raised $16,000 for this.
How many cars did you get to that first show?
512.
Dude, you got 512 cars at your first show?
Out of March 9th, cold, rainy, misty day. Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
It was insane. I mean, this community poured out. And, the very individuals that were on with the group that we came together and put the show together with, they are the reason why this thing was successful, because they knew what they were doing. And it was just my idea, But then my wife and I, we had the wheel cogs turning. And I've got a 2-year-old that's like, hey, I want to be in the video.
Hey, dude, it's all good. My 9-year-old autistic daughter is quite often on camera. Usually I'm just getting punched from off screen. So it's fine. It's all good.
But anyway, we decided we wanted to, it sprung our interest to start a nonprofit. And I never thought in a million years I'd start anything like this. So it was inspired by the show backing a law enforcement officer. So that's Back the Blue. And then we were like, but Back the Blue, that's kind of overdone. What can we do to make it our own? And so we added Rumble. And a lot of people are like, why did you choose that name?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you that, but I wanted to wait for the show.
Yeah. So Rumble, the aspect behind that name has a double entendre. On one side, it's explains, the shaking and quaking of the core of losing that pillar of the community, that hero fallen, right? And then the bedrock and foundation of that family also crumbling. So that's the Rumble aspect. But also, more importantly, because our nonprofit has 2 focuses to it, we're literally fighting for our heroes to save lives in the community, a first responder community. There's a lot of talk about, defunding the police, and we were trying to fight and keep them funded, give them what they need, resources. And so that's what Back the Heroes Rumble came into play, because our car show was titled that, but also because we support police, fire, and military fallen heroes with our big show. So that's why we kind of encompass it. Now you'll see the 3-state background in our logo. That's the region we support, because we're
was it Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, right?
Correct.
Okay. The cool thing is, like, we were talking the other day, one of my ambassadors is actually in Cincinnati, which is kind of cool. So I also have you ever heard of 22 Until Valhalla?
I've heard of them, yes.
So absolutely. Guff's one of my best friends, and I think they recently folded. He just got sick of it, too much going on and everything like that. However, if I come out there, like, I'm going to drag him up there so you guys can meet, because he's looking to get involved in some stuff again too. So great dude, great resources, really, really cool guys, a Marine Corps veteran.
Well, absolutely. And, honestly, I like to tell people this with our charity. We not only take care of the families of fallen police, fire, and military, honor their loved ones with this big show, and they get all the proceeds of the event. We also have another program, Open Arms, where we do life-saving equipment for first responders.
Yeah,
we're 5 members.
What equipment do you guys normally donate? So you said you raise money for equipment for law enforcement. Are you talking like tasers and stuff like that, or what exactly do you do?
I'm trying to see. Oh, I do have one. Okay, give me a second here.
Yeah, no worries.
So there is 2 main things we try to focus on. I mean, we try to provide all types of equipment. It's on our website. But with firefighters...
This is for Todd. I can't help Todd Come on, don't judge. I'm kidding. I'm getting made fun of for wearing a muscle shirt.
Hey, don't knock it, man.
Hey man, I'm getting
I'll
there.
feel like the Pillsbury Doughboy if I wore one of those. But no, what we do is we try to save lives in the first responder community where they're impacted the most. And so, for example, with police officers, the number one cause of death, gunshot wounds. Okay. And believe it or not, a lot of people are like, well, they got body armor. 83% of law enforcement deaths are with officers that get shot and killed in line of duty when wearing body armor. So body armor is not a save-all, catch-all. So we're providing life-saving trauma kits through our partners at North American Rescue. It's the company that a lot of us in the military may be familiar with, where we get medical equipment as I was a medic in the Army, and we provide these kits to these officers so that actually can save lives.
Nice.
With
So
firefighting. Go ahead.
Real quick, Todd Archiga listening right now. Sorry, Todd, I probably butchered your name again. He was a cop in DC for like 20 years. One of my good friends. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. But Todd, if you're still listening, I think I might bring you down here so you can meet these guys. A lot of cool dudes.
Absolutely, we would love as many people across the region or nation that want to come to the show. But yeah, let me. So we're always segueing, right? There's so much to share. So this, I got the background photo. How do I turn that off?
Yeah, your background is tripping me out, man. I'm glad I'm not high right now. I mean, drugs are bad. I don't do drugs.
Medical cannabis is okay. So anyway, so Globe is the manufacturer for these hoods, okay?
Okay.
Firefighters, the number one cause of death, everybody goes heart attack. Nope. Somebody goes fire injuries. Nope. Cancer. Cancer is the leading cause of death of firefighters. And
it's because of the inhalation, right?
It's exactly. It's the particulates they're exposed to when combating fires. Now, these hoods, you're like, oh, that looks like the hoods they already get. Well, they do, but they don't get this kind of hood. So the traditional Nomex hood that goes in all the turnout gear for all the firefighters, it helps with protecting them against heat exposure and also to protect their skin from third-degree burns. It doesn't guarantee that, but that's all it was made to do. And you clean it after every run, right? Well, these hoods stop 99.7% of the cancer-causing particulates.
So is it because a lot of the particulates not always necessarily inhaled, but also the stuff that just touches your skin and everything?
Absorption through the skin, correct.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
And you know, a lot of people are like, well, why do firefighters need us to provide these to them? Don't they have funding? You'd be surprised how much federal funding is used for paying these guys, for training them, for giving them other equipment. And they'll get a kit, they'll get a whole really nice setup turnout for their entire crew, right? But these hoods, they're $90-something a piece.
Damn.
You need at least 2 per firefighter, because if you go out in a fire run and it's soiled, you have to take it off, wash it, and then you got another one ready with your turnout gear, because you usually have 2 sets, right?
So are you trying to reach that 3-state region, you're doing your best to try to get all of those guys with these hoods?
Exactly. Where they don't have them, we provide them. That's what we're trying to do.
So how do you guys raise money? Is it mainly the car show?
So no, the car show, there's 2 programs. Operation Never Forget, which is the car show where we're honoring the families of fallen, and the money there all goes to the families. And I'll explain more about that in a minute.
Sure.
Operation Open Arms, we try to do fundraisers. We do Facebook birthday donations. People can go in through Smile, through Amazon. Just the typical avenues you see for bigger nonprofits, but we're a smaller one, right? We're also 100% volunteers. So every dime that we bring in, it's making an impact.
Sure. Same with Warriors Next Adventure and Houses for Warriors. Like that's why I love those 2 obviously I founded one of them, but it's refreshing to see nonprofits that are actually doing what they're supposed to do, right? Nonprofits, there's no bad thing about a CEO or a director taking a salary. There's nothing wrong with that. However, dude, how do you take a profit when you're a smaller nonprofit making less than $50K? You know, like that's what blows my mind, you know?
But more importantly, even if you're a multi-million-dollar nonprofit, how do you sit there knowing darn well that you make $250K? Like, no job is, I'm sorry. It's excessive. It is.
Well,
Especially-
it all depends on the impact. Like you think about like the Red Cross. Now the Red Cross is a nonprofit, right? A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
But you think about it like this: what does a normal CEO make for like a large corporation? They usually make some pretty damn good money, right? And they make good money because of what they do, right? So if they're a legitimate CEO and they're doing what they're supposed to do, I mean, even 200K isn't really that outrageous. It just depends on how much money they're bringing in and what is their impact. I think as long as the salary matches the impact, then I think it's whatever.
What I'm trying to get at is like you get like 10 or 12 board executives and they're all making $250,000 and they only give out an hour
exactly.
a month of work.
Yeah.
It's not worth
See,
that kind of no.
Yeah,
That's
see, that's
wrong.
why I'm like, directors, okay, I get it. Like CEOs that are actually working, okay, I get it. But like a board member who literally just like talks on a phone once a quarter, come on.
And I don't want to just make it about my nonprofit. I'm going to use a good example. USA Cares, excellent organization, fiscally responsible, transparent to the nine. They only have one person making a salary, and it's $60K a year. And Lord knows they do a lot. USA Cares does. And
Well, it's the same with We
that's
Defy
what you want to
Foundation. Like,
yeah,
there's so many good organizations out there,
right. And see that's when I'm like, okay, I don't have a problem with somebody making a salary. But me, even if we did bring in buku bucks to do what we're doing, hey, that means we're making an impact, we're saving lives. I still
100%.
don't want to take a dime. I don't need a dime. I don't need it.
I'm in the same situation. Occasionally we'll do. My tax guy screamed at me because I never did my mileage.
Right.
And he's
right.
like, "What are you doing, man? You're screwing yourself." But I'm like, So like, if I don't really need it, what's the point? I'm 80%. Like
Right.
you. I'm disabled, so I run this just fine. Which I also work for another app. It's just a paid-based app called Tasker. So I'm literally just an all-around handyman. So like I do carpentry, sheetrocking, mudding, and taping, but I work whenever I want. It's wonderful. I live the best life, dude. I'm so excited.
Absolutely, dude. I'm right there with you when it comes to causes like this. I consider it's a labor of love.
Oh, sure.
You're doing it
The
because
passion.
your heart's on it. You wear your heart on your sleeve, and then you share it with the world because things can be done better, and you see a smarter way of doing things or a creative way to do it, and you want to do it.
Yeah. Well, especially when we have the capability,
Well, that could be a loosely used term. Capability. Okay, for example, you're talking about disabled, right? Like, my post-traumatic stress disorder comes from a multifaceted issue. Okay, yes, I deployed a combat zone. No, we did have a pretty quiet deployment, but
when were you deployed?
I was deployed 08, 09 in Operation Iraqi Freedom. And
Where were you
we
at?
were Ghazaliya district, northwest of Baghdad. And we were
I was in and when were you there? Like what time frame?
I think it was at the same time you were, man. I got there October of 2008 and we left in September of 09.
Bro, you got there right after I left and you left right before I got there.
Like 173rd air of 101st, we relieved them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was there. I left November. Oh yeah, we were there kind of the same time. I was in Buka 2008, and then I went to Balad to like late 2009. I think I got there December 2009. So we just barely missed each other.
What really messed me up was two things that happened on my deployment, and I'll be honest with you. It's not DD-214 talk. It's just me sharing a couple moments. So one thing that happened to me was I witnessed we were going in after SF had cleared out for HVTs.
Yeah.
Some of you don't know what that is. It's high value targets. And we went in and there was bodies everywhere. And there was women, in their dress going hysterical. One of them, I think, was the mother of two of the HVTs, one that got shot in the face because he pulled up a gun instead of surrendering. Yeah. And then another one was a 7-year-old boy, half of his face missing. He was clearly dead. And just seeing that, especially at the time when I had a 2-3-year-old at home.
How do you not connect that with your own life, Like
it's a kid.
Yeah.
They say war is hell. Dude, it's a kid. You don't want to see that shit. And then the second part was we had mortar fire hit in and kill a guy that I was really good friends with that was killed in our personal security detachment. He had walked out of the porta shitter on our JSS and mortar fire came in and hit the rocks, kicked it up. The blast knocked him down and actually caused an inner a closed head injury, and his brain swelled, and he died in Rats Balad. And that fucked me up because he had just got back from getting married, having a kid. Survivor's guilt, man. I mean, we were literally in the tent eating chow right next to where the bomb had hit after we left for QRF from a grenade going off at a security checkpoint.
So
I mean, we literally missed it.
I talk a lot about survivor's guilt, and a lot of people don't truly understand it, right? You don't have to deploy to have survivor's guilt. A lot of people say, oh, you weren't even there. Shut up. You don't realize that just because you weren't in the same exact situation doesn't mean it didn't mess you up, right? I have some survivor's guilt from Fox 5-7. It was a Kiowa team that got shot down by RPG after I had left Afghanistan. But they got shot down in an area where we personally would clear all the time. So it's like, did we not do a good enough job? I was completely out of my control, but I can't help that it still gets me, all the time.
Same AO. So you're like, could have been.
Well, I had just gotten home too, and one of my buddies, Dan, Dan West usually listens to this podcast. He called me up. He's like, bro, Fox 5-7 got shot down. I'm like, dude, it was like I just lost a best friend. I never even met the guys. They dumped water on us every once in a while when they flew over because they're dicks. But, it was like a fun, relationship. And they would go over the radio and, they ended up saving Don Luckenbill. One of the guys that I was deployed with, we were doing a foot patrol with the vehicles right behind it. So we were in the MRAPs. I was a 50 cal gunner, so I was in the rear. So I was pretty much just sitting there, damn near sleeping half the time. But they called up and they saw a heat signature. They ended up finding, I think it was a 25-pound HME device underneath a culvert. So like they essentially saved one of our guys' lives. It's like I owe my life to these guys.
Yeah.
But it's weird.
Everybody's deployment's different. I keep telling people, they're like, oh, you were a badass, you were a medic. I'm like, dude, the guys that were protecting us, my gunner, which is actually here, he's betting ready to go back to Illinois. Actually, you're probably going to hear his ride coming here and taking him. But anyway, those guys were the badass. They kept us safe, dude. My job is in case you have to, and I'm glad for the most part I didn't have to.
Well, you're the guy that we protect the best, because if we go down, we need you.
Well, and I need them too, man. I remember when the tax up came down around that same time. You'll probably remember what I'm talking about, where medics are told, don't train your guys, CLS guys, to do IVs. The Army's no, don't do that because of high risk. Who the frick's going to do an IV on me if I go down?
Yeah, so, and the fact that they stopped letting us do IVs, like in the Air Force, we had something called self-aid buddy care, of course, and then combat lifesaver, which is like it's like rookie level wannabe medics, because like they teach us the nasopharyngeals, the chest decompression needles, and then also like the IVs and stuff. And then towards the end, they ended up stopping letting us do the IVs because it's too dangerous. Like, we're in the military, we're literally going to die, like likely if we deploy. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely. Let me tell my comrade, see ya. Like 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I got something to say anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're good.
Plug in for the nonprofit, right?
Do you want to just mute it real quick? All right. So, thanks, Chanel. Yeah. So, like, a lot of people don't realize. So, anybody who's listening to this right now, if any of you have some sort of survivor's guilt or know anybody who has talked about survivor's guilt, it's something that can really damage you if you don't take care of it, right? So a lot of the typical, like, oh, suck it up, quit being a bitch, I hate that crap. Like, certain things affect people in certain ways. Just because you didn't have the same experience, you could have been in the same battle with somebody, but a bullet whizzed by my head and it didn't whiz by yours, and you're fine. I'm messed up, and you're like, well, why are you so messed up? You got to start thinking about, like, everybody experiences things in their own way. Everyone has their own, their own way of seeing things. And so a lot of guys who never deployed technically can still get PTSD from survivor's guilt, stuff like that, just because, like, we ended up losing somebody that either we were close to or just, like, we just generally knew them. So that's something that people should start thinking about, especially if you're starting to judge others for, like, who are really struggling. Looking at survivor's guilt as something that isn't just, it's not just somebody complaining. It's somebody seriously experiencing something, But hey, Carl, why don't you tell us a little bit about the event on August 6th? What is it? How do people sign up? Real quick, I just want everybody to know, if you want to look at the link for the car show, it's actually in the description. So just go back to the description, click that link. It'll take you directly to the pre-registration.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So the show is on August 6th. It's a Saturday. It's always the first Saturday of August every year. And it's at the Batavia Township Park. The address is in the link on the website. You can find all of that there. If you want to register a vehicle to show off and possibly win a trophy, we bring literally concourse judges from across the nation to come to the show and judge. I'm not kidding you.
Awesome.
These guys are really well experienced. Over 125 years of combined judging experience for those high grade, like Mecum auction quality cars.
Oh,
so
wow.
These guys
So,
are
like,
really good.
You actually do like trophies and everything like that for like best car. Like, what are some of the classes that you guys do?
So we do by decades. So 1940s and older, all the way up to modern class. We do truck. We got Jeep. We've got Dodge. Well, we call it Mopar. We got Mopar. We got Ford, Chevy, or GM, as most people call them. We've got law enforcement's most wanted vehicle to show, firefighters' hottest to show, military vehicle of honor. We even give out a car club trophy where they have their name engraved on it, and we keep that. And then whoever wins the most years, we give that trophy to them. That's accolades, bragging rights. And then you get a glass take home every year, whichever club brings out the most vehicles registered. And so with this show, man, I mean, there's 60 trophies. And a lot of them are crystal glass trophies. Like, these are the kind of trophies you would think you would see at like a corporate executive gala or something. I mean, these are high-end trophies. And you could see on our Facebook the pictures for that car show, 4th annual Back to Heroes Rumble car, truck, and bike show. You find it on Facebook. You can see pictures under the discussion on that page for the event of the some of the trophies that we have.
Nice.
And
yeah, I'll be sharing some stuff on Veterans Action Report Facebook from your organization, so people can kind of take a look at some of that stuff too. So,
no, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Of course.
But really, while you're showcasing what we do as far as the show, I want to showcase why we do it. So we all feel like a brotherhood's connecting us, whether we're law enforcement, first responder, or military, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every year we alternate between police, fire, and military that we honor. And this year we're honoring 2 of the fallen 13 from last year. It happened right after our last year's show, and we knew right away we wanted to honor somebody. And so we went ahead and had the 2 that were from our area, from the Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky region, which is Maxton Soviak and Humberto Sanchez. Both of them are being honored. But we're not leaving it just honoring them, even though the proceeds are only going to those 2 families. We are also cordially inviting that any of the other fallen 13 families that want to be there, they can be there. I know that Kelsey Leinhart, she's a survivor from the war, from the incident that occurred.
Is she coming?
I don't know if she's coming. I know her mom's expressed that she's going to be there. Stacey.
Bro, if she shows up, please give me an introduction. I would love to talk to her.
I will gladly be right there with you, shaking her hand, thanking her.
That would be amazing, because I want to offer my services to her too. You know, like I can't imagine going through that, you know, especially when there hadn't been a death in 18 months in Afghanistan.
Well, more importantly, you know, how we in our brains go, you talked about survivor's guilt. Could only imagine. I couldn't even imagine the heaviness of what she goes through, not only surviving, but in having a battle every day to get back to feeling somewhat semblance of normalcy.
Sure.
I'm praying for her, man. I know we all are, but it's just, it sucks to see somebody go through that.
Imagine being there too, like on that last plane that was flying. I still remember I was so emotional that day. I couldn't figure it out. You know, I had to call a bunch of my buddies to try to just kind of figure, am I crazy? Like, why do I feel emotional? Like, what is wrong with me? But watching that last plane take off, what was that, a C-17? And all the people that are trying to cling onto the wheels, and they ended up finding a dead body in the wheel well when they landed. It's just ridiculous. Imagine being some of those people that had to see that stuff, you know? I mean, it's war, but still.
I never set foot in Afghanistan, man. But I have one on our board that has, and it was a really rough time for him. And when he heard we were honoring two of the fallen 13, his ears perked up. He goes, "We're going to go all out on this," because he's the co-chair. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. And there's nothing we could do to replace those lives lost. There's nothing we could do to give Kelsey back what she lost and then some. There's nothing we could do to do that, but we need to, as a community, let them know that we love them, we care for them, and we're there for them, not just because of their sacrifice, but because their willingness that they said up into including their life. They wrote that blank check to say, not on my watch are these innocent people going to be left there high and dry. She was even there trying to make sure that these kids and these people got out of there before the terroristic organization took over. And it's just, we know how disgusting some of those terrorists can be. And it's
I mean, I've seen some of the crap they've done. There was a tanker explosion when I was in Afghanistan, and like 30, 40 villagers blew up because the Taliban was using sticky bombs at the time. Popped a hole inside of a tanker, and everyone was filling up diesel in these buckets. They run by, stick a sticky bomb on the side of the tanker, and blew up a bunch of people. And we were just right around the corner too, so like we could damn near feel the heat from that thing, man. I didn't, because I was in the other side, but like that's another typical thought of like how certain things affect you. There's certain guys on my team that actually walked up and were like literally standing next to burning bodies, and I just saw it from afar, so like, I still saw it, but like it's kind of it didn't affect me as much as some of the guys on my team, so like that's something like I want to talk to her about coping mechanisms. That's the main thing. It's like you said, you can't take that stuff away. You will never delete a trauma from your brain. It's not going to happen, but you can learn how to cope, and you can learn how to survive afterwards and create a new life after. Is she still in the military? Did she get out?
I don't know. Somebody said turn down Moana. Hey guys, turn off that video stuff. I've got a 2-year-old next door, guys.
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
I didn't realize it because I'm not listening and paying attention.
Yeah, no worries. It's all good. Like I said, man, my daughter has come in here a couple times and like tried strangling me on camera. I'm like, all right, well, I guess this is part of the show now. It's all good.
It's the juggle of watching over a kid and doing what we do. I apologize, but hey,
don't worry about it. It's all good.
So truth be told, I mean, everything you guys are hearing in the background, that's my semblance of peace too. I mean, after all the hell we've been through and the worry of not making it home, to have the luxury of being able to come home and see these kids, we don't take that for granted.
Yeah, dude, I still love sitting on the couch watching movies with my kids. Like if I can sit literally all day, like when it was hot as crap the other day, it was like 102. We stayed in the house and just sat there and watched. Well, I was working for a little bit, but when I came home, dude, the best thing in the world is just sitting down with my kids on the couch. I love it,
Yeah, I mean, so the other trouble that I have with putting on this car show and was running this nonprofit is I'll be in the middle of a phone meeting with potential sponsor for one of our big events, and I have to say, hold on 1 second, because he's fussing and crying, and it's like, it's a juggle. It's
part of it, man. Like I had a phone call interview. It was a pretty important person that I really needed to talk to. And right at that moment, my youngest daughter, her name is Charlie. We call her Chucky for many reasons. And so she was just acting like typical Chucky. And she ran over and closed fist punched me in the face. Right. So she's 100%, she's nonverbal. She doesn't talk. She's pretty cognitively delayed, and like just out of nowhere, she'll start freaking out. And like all I can really do is just try to keep her happy, And dude, right in the middle of this phone call, it was a Zoom call too. Just out of nowhere, you just see a fist come and hit me right in the face. I'm like, sorry guys, that's life.
So this is doing this organization. It definitely heals my inner peace, gives me inner peace. It heals my PTSD in a sense that gives me a sense of purpose, gives me some semblance that I'm actually doing good, because, I would have loved to have been on fly on the room when the VA is like, hey, you're severely handicapped from employment because you struggled finding work as a nurse when you graduated nursing school, paramedic school after you got out, you couldn't go because you had a bad back. So we're just going to take that burden off your shoulders. And I appreciate that, but I can't sit at home and just do nothing. I just can't.
That's the one thing I talk to many of my veterans about that are 100% disabled, right? What are you doing with this opportunity, right? because what's it, $3,200 a month, to be 100% disabled. It's not amazing, but it's doable. Like, you can get another job if you want to. But if you have that, why would you not do something you're passionate about? Find a job that you love. Find something that you truly want to do. Our main three things that Warriors Next Adventure focuses on is sense of purpose, camaraderie, and adventure. Because those are the three things that humans need, especially men, right? Yeah, women need it too, but men need that in their lives. We need adventure. We need purpose. We need a reason why we're here, right? So most men's value is based off of what they can provide, right? Not just financially, but like, what do you provide to the world? What are you giving back, right? And then you start an organization. I know you feel the same way I do, but you start an organization and you literally live purpose every single day. Like when I get a phone call, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I jump out of my bed, I grab my phone because I'm like, this could be a veteran who's struggling. And 9 times out of 10, it is. And I'll sit there and give them all my time. And my girlfriend still hasn't really figured it out yet, but like, this is so much bigger than me. This nonprofit is more important than myself. It's more important than me. My self-care is built into the nonprofit. I love race cars. I love wolves. I love climbing mountains, all that shit. It's all great. But the main focus is the suicide prevention aspect and getting people to learn how to live a better life. And with you actually taking your 100% and then deciding, you know what, I need to do something with impact and starting to do something like this. Imagine how many firefighters and law enforcement and veterans you've impacted since you guys started. How many years have you been around? You're muted, bud.
Ha! So we were established in 2019.
Okay.
Of course, everybody wants to bother me when I'm busy. This always happens, right?
It's all good. What month were you guys started?
So March of 2019. So right after we
Okay.
did the show for that fallen deputy. And
Yeah, we started in April, so we're right along the same lines, man.
And I'll tell you, when we put on that first show, we decided let's do military so people know that we back all our heroes. And we did a show for Sergeant Joseph Coletti, who was also killed in Afghanistan.
Okay.
He was killed by he was EOD, and
Okay.
and a bomb went off, and then they got ambushed, and small arms fire wounded him. And
Do you know when this was?
it was that year. It literally happened late March, I do believe, of that year.
Okay.
Late March, I think. If I'm quoting the date wrong, please. I'm going off memory. My memory's sometimes
That's okay.
It's
You're
on our
not doing
website.
it for malicious purposes, so it's all good.
But at the end of the day, I mean, we were able to raise $1,500 after the cost for the event. It was our first year, so we didn't have a lot of following and sponsors. Yeah. And I think we did really well. We had almost 200 show vehicles. Flash forward, last year was our biggest year. We had 300 show vehicles. We had $7,300 raised for 2 fallen officers' families. And they're coming back this year to welcome the families of the fallen soldiers we're honoring this year. And we're building that network where they come back and it's a welcoming team. So they take them in and they can share each other's stories and cope and support one another, because it really, they need a village to be there for them. Because all after the dust settles, after you honor them, they'll have processionals after the person dies and everything. And then there's just silence. And there's nothing more deafening than that silence.
Well, you think about it like this, there's always a gap between the burial and the realization that that person's gone, right? That gap is terrible. But like, once you accept the fact that this person is no longer here with us, there needs to be some sort of continuation. Right. I don't think people should let a death affect their whole life. Like, certain things happen, people die, and it destroys people. But we can do good things with that, right? Death, you can use death as something good. A lot of people get pissed at me when I say stuff like this. Like, well, how are you going to let somebody die and just be happy about it? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, choose to use it as fuel rather than let it destroy you. And what you guys are doing is giving them an avenue to use, everything that happened as fuel. How are we going to help other people, move on from these things, right? Not forget, but move on. And I'm really excited to come out there and check out what you guys are doing, man.
It's we're trying to do things bigger and better every year, and because we want this to be a memorable, positive we're not celebrating their death. We're celebrating their service. We're celebrating their legacy. That's what our motto is. It literally is honor their sacrifice, support their legacy. And, our bottom line is their legacy is the memory they left behind, the family that they left behind. And we don't want that to die, because once that dies, what's left, right? Lest the nation be weakened by forgetting those who have fallen, right? You can't forget about their sacrifice, because then you as a nation are weaker. So
that's why it's been so sickening over the last few years. And I don't want to get political or anything like that, but like seeing everything that's been going on, over the last couple of years, like taking down statues and stuff like that. It's just like, what, if you forget everything from the past, or you're gonna what do they call it?
You're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah, there you go. My quotes are terrible.
I was terrible at mine too. I mean, I know I have the quote on a patch on my jacket somewhere, but
yeah, I got your text right before the show. So,
but it's the fuel from the PTSD. The fuel from the PTSD is what tells me to keep fighting. Those that we have survivor's guilt from, some of us. What would they want us to do? Would they want us to hold back onto the past, or would they want us to live on and know that it was not in vain, that they died?
One of the most impactful things that I notice when I tell veterans is like, okay, yes, this person died. It's destroying you and everything like that. I get it. I totally understand. However, what if it was you that died and you saw your buddy live in the way that you're living? Would you be proud? Look at that, right? Create a legacy in his honor, live a life of purpose, right? Our one of our slogans on the last t-shirt print we did was live a life of purpose for those who can't, because these people can't live their lives anymore.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And you think about it like this: how are we going to honor these people when all we do is sit there and go to the bar and drink and get drunk to try to forget and, act like pieces of crap? Like that was me 2012 to 2015, after my suicide attempt. And then finally I realized, like, what am I doing with myself? So it's like a lot of times when I'm trying to tell these guys, like, you need to understand that there is a life after the military. And if you're going to let all of that destroy you, you're missing out on what could be an absolutely amazing life after the military. You could be the new representative of what a veteran should be and what a veteran should do and how they should look and how they should act, and we all have that capability, right? So that's why I love hearing other people like you who decided to start an organization and move. You don't have to start an organization to be successful, but like you're trying your best to be a good impact around you,
Right.
One of my favorite quotes in the world is "Be the change you want to see in the world" by Gandhi. And it's absolutely true. If you want the world to change and get better, you have to do it to yourself first. You can't tell everybody else what to do and not do it yourself.
Right. Right. And I apologize. I'm letting my wife know. Quit calling me. I'm in the middle of a phone interview.
You're good, man. You're good.
She's trying to let me know she's on her way back because we're going to get dinner. But here's the thing. So my main focus for me, Carl, not the nonprofit, for me, is if I can't take care of myself and my family, I'm not doing myself or anybody any good. And so I try to think, okay, if this nonprofit's so stressful for me, is it good for me to continue or should I let it go? And honestly, it hurts me so much, just the idea of just trying to let it go, because it's overwhelming.
So that's your answer,
Yeah. So I just say, you know what? Embrace the suck, as we call it, right? There's hard moments because we're alive. We're alive. We're able to take a deep breath and enjoy life while others can't. And we need to embrace that. And we need to be able to be thankful for that. And this is my way of being thankful. Continue every day and doing what we do.
Have you ever read the book, The 5 Love Languages?
Yes. Yes, I have.
I talk about this all the time. I'm pretty sure the guys who listen to every episode, you've heard me say this 100 times, but most veterans are actually acts of service, right? So what do we do when we join the military? We're joining to serve our country, right? Some people are just trying to get, benefits and all that stuff, but eventually it turns into service, right? And when we get out, we lose our service. We're not serving anything anymore. Now we're just a bump on a log. That's it, right? I guarantee most veterans if they started serving some purpose, whether it's another organization. In Minnesota alone, there's somewhere around 300,000 veteran companies or nonprofits that are serving veterans. That's insane. That's just Minnesota, right? There's 50 more states to go. Think about it like this: find an organization to work with, right? Start your own if you want to. And plus, if you want to start one, give me a call. I help start nonprofits. But think about it like this: we're living our purpose. And when you live your purpose and you live your love language, which mine is also service, and words of affirmation, so they work perfectly together with what I do. When somebody asks, like, why are you waking up at 3:00 in the morning for random fucking strangers? Like, well, when I had a gun to my head, I didn't have anybody. And this is kind of like my payback for, almost taking my life, but it's also the service that I get. I provided my own value. I felt like I had no value. I started Warriors Next Adventure and boom, that's my value. Now I get, hundreds of calls a month, of veterans who just need to talk or have suggestions or questions. And it's like, I literally turned myself into what I wish I had back in 2015,
Yeah, I get it completely, man. I mean, it's just one of those things. If you feel idle hands the devil, man, you lose yourself.
I call it idle hand syndrome. I got it bad, man.
but I'll tell you, my biggest focus, like I said, is trying to make sure we save lives, so we don't have to. Every time I see a story of an officer or a firefighter or a soldier killed, it's like one more brick of just people not realizing your life is falling apart around you, and you got to do something to help the families so they don't have to feel like their loved one's going to be falling next. Sure. And if there's anything we could do to save lives, let's do it. And so for you doing it for PTSD, for mental health, for suicidal ideation, helping people stop before they grab that gun or grab that knife or jumped off that bridge, where I'm trying to make sure that these guys don't die in the line of duty while they're saving us, because, it's the least we can do to be thankful, right? Give them what they need to survive so they can make it to their loved ones.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, we got to get going here. Why don't you tell everybody again the name of your organization and how to pre-register for the event and a little bit about the event real quick.
So the car show is on August 6th. It's titled the 4th Annual Back to Heroes Rumble. It's on our Facebook page. If you just Google Back to Heroes Rumble, you'll find our website. You'll find everything about us. The car show is from 9 a.m. to 3:30 with awards done just after that. We're going to have warbirds flying over during the anthem, doing the missing man formation. We're honoring the fallen 13, 2 of those which will receive all the proceeds, their families will. And we're trying to make sure this is a huge event. We got a baseball game being played by the Reds Hall of Fame.
Nice.
We've got live bands, and there's going to be hundreds of cars there. Plus, all the military branches are going to do a Battle of the Branches competition with the youth that are looking to join the military.
Nice.
So it's going to be a really nice, well-rounded event. It's free to attend, but if you have a vehicle you want to show, even if you don't pre-register online, you can do it at day of at the show.
You should put up like a donations welcome, thing. Just get buckets everywhere. Like, please donate if you can, Well, hey, we gotta get going. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna drop you off. Okay.
Sounds good, brother.
Thanks, brother. Hey guys, please go click on the link in this description and go pre-register. If you're in that general area, please go attend. It's going to be awesome. I talked to my board and we're about 99% sure we're going to have a booth there, which is awesome. So thank you, Carl, for giving us that opportunity. Go check out Warriors Next Adventure and Houses for Warriors, the 2 nonprofits that this show benefits. Thank you again to KGRA Digital Broadcasting. Go make a profile on KGRA. You can listen to this show and a couple other public service shows for free. But there's also a membership where you get access to a bunch of different other shows. So thank you guys. I love you. And remember to live a life of purpose for those who can't.
Perfect.